call on your devotion and have people come forth and form true religions based off of your beliefs, your tenets. And it's about now where you guys realize that it's probably about time for you guys to stop hanging out in all the general cities because you're now going to be drawing attention to all those cities and you don't want this to be a weekly thing.
Yeah,
You guys
I
are,
wouldn't wish this among all the rest of the civilization.
I mean, you guys are making powerful enough enemies, and like even if it's not just God, there are powerful demons and devils out there that could do this kind of damage. A massive portal is not impossible to do for many high power beings, and this is just kind of like the apex of what one could do. It's about now that you guys realize that it's time for you guys to focus on what you guys are and take care of the goals you specifically have in mind. Now, you guys have been stuck with Pan for a while now. Not terribly long, but long enough to where you guys are starting to realize that you can't watch her every moment of every day. And she's not someone that you can just leave with a handful of your followers because the beings that are after her are quite powerful.
What do we do?
With that in mind, you guys do know that there are other places in the realms where she could be safe. Places that are separated from the material plane would be the perfect destination because the material plane is where a being is most vulnerable. The material plane is the most manipulative, most easy place to manipulate the inhabitants of. A standard human is easy to bribe. An outsider is much harder to bribe if you don't know their specific weakness. That being said, Pan will have to wait. Your guys' goals kind of lie elsewhere. You guys know that Adviticus is still waging war in the southern desert lands, and you guys have decided to take the fight to him this time. You guys have in your possession the Book of Isolance, which is his personal journal, and through study, Kenna can figure out the location of the final and only remaining Temple of Havocor. Before, you guys only knew that it was in a desert, so you guys assumed that you would have to, go into the desert of Alacor. But a short reading actually you kind of realize that it's actually just kind of a misnomer. Arctic lands are also deserts.
Yay, well, man.
You would have rather had the heat, wouldn't you? Kind of. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't bother me.
Shit,
but...
I should have taken winter.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I'm going to bring you guys over to...
One thing before we get too far into the
should have taken God of
this thing. Regarding Pan, do I think if I put her in my tower and guarded her with my Fey forces, would she be relatively safe?
I have one question about your tower.
If I locked her away in my tower.
Is it a labyrinth?
Yeah. I have a hedge maze around it.
I think you'd be fine.
The specific problem with that is you don't know what Pan would do in the Feywild. The thing is, she's definitely tied to the Feywild in some way. And with her being tied to the far realms as well, it could potentially be very disastrous if something were to happen.
What if I put her in a demi-plane?
We're gonna lock her up again? That seems really cool.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the big things comes down to...
I mean, it would be a nicer demi-plane than where she was, but...
Cruel.
I could make a really good demi-plane, just saying.
We were good people once.
The only downside to something as simple as like a demi-plane is that demi-planes have fixed entry points.
Yeah.
Unless you have a very specific item that is a moving fixed point. And something as simple as a locate object spell works to find her.
Yeah, it's not super secure.
Yeah, so like...
So we need a babysitter.
Yeah. If you don't want to bring her with everywhere, you would need a extremely powerful babysitter and one that you can trust without like worrying.
Hey Pierce, how often are you gonna go on your little adventures?
the most powerful babysitter in the land.
Is this
The
like a job we
babysitter
post
club.
on- It's the job we post on Ye Old Craigslist or something.
There we go.
Must be capable of stopping eldritch abomination incursions.
Yep.
What was
There'd
it
be
called?
some-
The End of Times?
Mm-hmm. There'd be some old wizard that'd just be like, I've been waiting for this call. I charge 3,000 a minute.
Seems fair.
Yeah.
In terms of guardians, probably the safest locations you could think of would either be in Celestia with Garen and his army of angels. The downside to that is if they deem her evil.
Yeah.
Right, that's my concern, is they'll just try to smite her.
Yeah, and then I mean Garen wouldn't directly allow that, but there are
He doesn't have any power
definitely.
left.
He ain't the only angel in heaven.
I do want to point out that he's still more powerful than like Solars. So
Oh, okay. Neat. I don't know.
there is no longer a god of heaven. So he is the most powerful being in heaven.
Okay. That's funny.
Right now.
Right, but there's not much stopping some rogue angel from ganking her when Garen is on. fighting
Exactly.
someone.
Garen has lots of other responsibilities. So
Yeah, there could easily be some zealot that just knows that he's in the right and she needs to die.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like we're leaving her with Greg Mauler.
I was gonna say the other thing is that I could throw out an idea that would definitely probably cross Kenna's mind, probably no one else's though. But Abaddon would make a great guardian as well.
Right. I definitely know who that is.
Abaddon is the Pit Fiend gate guard that you guys met that guarded the
Oh,
tower
Yep.
Yeah, I remember him.
Of course, I remember that.
with a
was-
proper with. Now that he is technically freed from the heel of Grekmaler, and if you personally relieved him of his duty as a devil, he would be bound by contract to protect her.
Yeah, he's a devil. So honestly, like, devils are more reliable than angels. I know how that sounds, but like,
Oh, they are. That's why I'm saying she would definitely think about it. Like, no, that
It's
they
true.
actually. The thing is, they actually are because
I know.
if especially the thing I want to point out is that pit fiends are notoriously good at keeping their word because they live forever. They don't care what happens in any of the near future. So
Yeah,
if you
he-
do something, for instance, free him from essentially standing guard for 10,000 years, he can watch a bratty girl for a few years.
mhm.
And he has his own legion, so he could definitely protect her.
She's not that bratty. I've met way worse.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
from his point of view, bratty.
Seems like a good babysitter to me.
I mean, yeah.
Also, I just like as a player, I think it's hilarious that
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yes, she will be babysat by a legion of undead, or no, legion of devils. Sorry,
Yeah, devils.
my brain doesn't work.
You know,
and they're not
if
demons
Kenna
either.
were to explain it to Rock in that way, that he is actually more trustworthy than the angels. Rock's known enough devils and enough angels.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's probably right.
remember what's his nuts? That guy we killed.
Oh, you mean the dick with the big sword?
Yep,
Damn.
that one.
That guy.
Celestro or something.
Oh yeah, that was the angel. Yep.
Yeah, was that his name?
Yes.
Ooh.
I'm impressed.
Look at
God
the-
of knowledge.
Yeah. Look at the big brain on Ben.
Yeah. All right, so Abaddon, the pit fiend babysitter.
He's still technically like the gate guard, but if you went in there and like we're leaving, he'd be like, finally. Like
Yeah.
if you just went to Greg Mahler, like I'm taking Abaddon, he'd be like, God damn it,
like-
literally, God damn it, because
Yep.
I need him.
and we don't have to roleplay that. That's as simple as I'm taking him, and then you write up a contract, basically.
Yep.
Well, Kenna writes up a contract. Rock, not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably very long.
Oh yeah, like this is like something that we're talking like this like rivals that of like the code that they took to like get the space shuttle to the moon and back, where it's like several
Every
people high.
conceivable permutation.
Yep. Um, so contracting Abaddon and basically saying you watch her, keep her safe for X amount of time, and as long as you do that, then you don't owe me anything for freeing you from douchebag Wreck Mauler.
Yep.
Deal.
Nice, good deal.
Cool. All right. Just wanted to make sure that we knew where she was.
The nice thing with that too is that deal will come with an amulet that will let you know if her pulse goes away.
Oh.
So if she dies, you will know immediately, and you
What
can
about,
recall to her.
what about it's taken?
Or if she, I mean, we could have it to be anything where like, if she is not within his line of sight,
Okay.
it goes cold.
If something's wrong.
Yep.
All right. So we got the baby monitor.
Yep.
Cool.
With that, is there anything you guys want to do before charging off to the northern waste to find this temple?
Get some. Get a nice parka. It's gonna be cold.
Oh yeah, with the dread winter up there, absolutely, it's cold. Anything specific, or is there anything you guys want to do in your downtime?
Well, I mean, Jacob still is completely like. I know that with all the shit that's going on, that he has to kind of back burner some things, but the Orisa situation is still seriously in the forefront.
Yep. That's one of the things I was going to say is, so while everyone is figuring they're getting their stuff ready for them to be gone for next period, another period of time. The most obvious situation that you have to deal with is that you now have a ship that is a ship, magical item, but not a intelligent item anymore.
And it can't
then you
do its thing. It's floaty bit.
Yes, correct. It can still teleport around, but it can no longer float. It's no longer ethereal.
Okay.
And moreover, it doesn't work as a summon cannon blow things up anymore. You still have that technically as a god power, because that's one of your god powers, right? It's not a item. I gotta look at your powers.
I'm pretty sure the dread pool itself was like, it's like, because I have the hat and it's connected to the.
See, I think it's one of your god powers. I gotta.
Dread pool special item.
Is that that allows you to summon it, right?
I mean, let's see.
Is that what it says? Yeah, it's been a while since I wrote that, so
it says it's a special item.
Okay. God game special stuff. I'm just gonna read my writing so that way I know exactly what I meant by it. Okay, call the haunted. Yeah, no, it's a divine power. Call the haunted.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so that'll still work because that's just your power. It's not necessarily tied to the ship.
Okay.
Let's
so
see.
I guess I need to know what it can no longer do. Unless I don't know what it can no longer do.
It can no longer rise from the sea because it's no longer a resurrecting item. I'll put a asterisk by what it can't do. So if it's destroyed, it's destroyed. Let's see. Can no longer do ethereal, cannon fire. It's just those two things technically.
Okay,
those
so
are two very important things.
So when I do the Call of the Hunted, what happens? It's not ethereal?
It's just a god power.
Okay.
It's not technically the ship.
Okay.
It still looks like the ship and everything. That's more of tied to your essence and your original connection with the ship.
So it's like a ghost of the ship?
Yeah, it's a manifestation. That's what it's always been. It's never actually been the ship itself.
So,
it's just from your point of view, it looks and feels and acts like the ship. But that's why you couldn't go on top of the ship. You couldn't interact with it.
Okay.
It's just an ethereal projection.
Okay, so it can't fire into the ethereal plane and the
Correct.
astral plane any longer.
Yep.
Damn, that was. I mean, not that we ever used it, but that's a neat ability.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's something that, like, for instance, like the Blood Queen might have used while you're gone.
Right.
Like that ability is still being used on a daily basis, whenever it needs to be,
Yeah.
outside of you specifically using it during our game day sessions because the ship is still used.
Okay. So if it ever is, I guess, beat up in naval battle, like is there a threshold before it's completely destroyed, or can I
Yes. Well,
salvage all that?
with the um
Not even a naval battle. If something just wrecks it, chops it in half, I guess, and it sinks to the bottom. Can
I mean, it functions as a standard ship in that regard.
Okay.
In terms of actual like ship capabilities, it has 5 hit markers instead of 3 still.
Okay.
So it's still an extremely durable ship. It's strong. It's like almost twice as strong as any other ship on the planet.
Okay.
So it's still very, very powerful and very, very much near unsinkable. It's just now if it does actually get sinked, then
Yeah, it's still a ship. It will sink.
yeah. It'd be a shipwreck, and you could technically pull it on up, repair it, and then have the magic cast back into it.
Okay.
So it's just like a destroyed magic item. You could repair it technically.
For what it's worth, I will definitely offer any assistance that I can in trying to help fix the ship.
Restore it to what it was.
Yeah.
Well, it seems that needs an innocent soul, and I don't know if I'm that evil piratey.
You need to put a soul in there.
I think
We
so.
have Pan.
Yeah, so I can actually explain this because Kenna will actually know technically.
Yeah.
So the way intelligent item works is it is actually the bound soul of a very, very powerful good being
Mhm.
that is used. Well, it doesn't have to be good. So every item has its own basically soul requirement. If you use a lawful good soul and put it into an item, the item itself becomes lawful good. Now the dread pool matches Jacob's alignment, which is assuming chaotic neutral or some variation of that.
Yeah, think. I don't think it's
Chaotic
chaotic
neutral,
neutral.
chaotic good.
Probably chaotic good.
Yeah, that's what I was
That's
thinking.
why I
So,
split and took over the Dread Queen and all that shit originally.
yep.
Because she was evil, and I'm like, yeah, this is bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you would need, if you want it back the way the ship was and to be aligned with Jacob still, it would have to be a chaotic good creature. And with the way intelligent magic items work, it has to be a willing soul for it to be a good one.
So
mean,
how did she do
do
it?
I mean that's something that happened in your realm, not this
Yeah.
one.
That's
So
what I mean. I'm gonna have to have a chat with the Blood Queen and be like, what the fuck did you do to my friend?
Even if that wasn't a thing, I wouldn't put someone unwilling into that. I can't imprison someone like that. It's just totally against
just talking
everything.
about shoving Pan into a demiplane.
Well, that's different, and because this is like forever.
Yeah.
I mean, Rhesus got out, but yeah, pretty much indefinitely.
I mean, yeah, nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like pretty much forever.
So with the Aresis thing, actually tracking it down and fixing the problem would be an adventure in itself.
Mhm.
We can definitely, if you want to make that like next session, we could do that next session.
Well, sometime. I don't want to, take over.
No, I mean it's good to do that because from now on we're gonna be focusing on you guys. That's the whole point of this campaign, anyways. I want you guys to be focusing on your stuff, not the bigger world stuff. The bigger world stuff is supposed to come second. This is a very important thing for you and your people, as the dread pool is a sign of your people. So it's very important. So we can add that to the front burner unless something else comes up.
Okay.
Um,
So yeah, Jacobs would definitely bring that up to the group of like, hey, this is kind of important to me. I want to figure out what like is going on with her for sure. Because isn't she kind of in some kind of flux too? Like,
not anymore.
oh, okay.
She's now fully conscious and she's just a girl again.
Okay. I thought she was still messed up.
I mean, her brain is probably fucky, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was a ship for a long time.
Right. But as far as the Dreadpool goes, it is, kind of a symbol of me, of the power and everything. It's kind of like, taking down the church. So
I'm sure we can find a chaotic soul to suit it that is in need of a home.
Right. That's it'll mostly have to be a bargain of some sort, making their their lives better by
Mhm.
some means. I'm not going to nab something and shove it in my boat.
Gotcha.
Yep. I don't think that would go well.
No,
It might.
I think we would crash.
Pierce
No.
like moves all of his like gemstones into a different pocket. Like, oh,
Do.
So I guess during the downtime, Jacobs would definitely have a pretty serious conversation with the Blood Queen about what happened and everything. Like I need to know everything that happened with the ship and her and all that. And
okay.
like
Yeah, I will before next game session. Then I'll write something up and give you the information that she can give you.
awesome.
Then we can go back and forth on it a little bit.
Yep. And it's definitely like I'm upset that it happened, but I'm and so in the past. It's in a different world. It's in a different time. I guess I can't really hold it against her, but I'm still pissed.
Oh yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So recess. Anything for Rock or Kenna or Pierce before you guys head
I
out?
think just like assisting with other things and doing the babysitter contract.
Yeah, I imagine that'd take up a good chunk of Kenna's time.
Yeah.
How about Rock?
Writing a massive
The only
contract.
thing Rock would want to do is kind of set up a new trial to become chieftain for his tribe. And I was
mean,
thinking something.
Unless you like take direct command over the tribe again, that's kind of out of your hands at this point.
Oh, shit.
You're removed enough from that. I mean, you could definitely do that. Like you can definitely like have a one-on-one with like your head priest. But at the point where you guys are getting to direct influence is starting to get kind of out of your control because now you're having people that are doing their own
Right.
stuff.
I just didn't have the means to set up what I wanted until right now.
No, like yeah, I mean like if you have stuff like in mind, you could have been talking about this the whole time and they could have been working towards something.
Okay, well, we can touch base on that later or just forget it. It'll be fun.
No, I definitely want to hear about it so that way we can know, that way I know how it's ran because it is important. I'm just letting you guys know that kind of like you're at the point where you need to start pulling away because once you guys hit intermediate deity, you can't talk to people. If you do, they explode.
We need a what's that called?
Match slaps.
Oh, a Metatron.
Talk to everyone.
You need an avatar essentially.
The guy from Dogma. That's what I was going for. Alan Rickman. He was the voice of God. I think it's a Metatron. Is the type
Well, I
of
mean, like,
angel.
so like you guys, I mean, yeah, you guys can send messengers and stuff, but you also have other ways of talking with like your priests and stuff through like, visions and stuff. So like there are ways to communicate with them. It's just you guys are no longer like political people in the world.
Or
So
soon.
like, yeah, exactly. Like you're reaching the point where it's like, yes, you can still absolutely like call a crusade because you send enough visions to people that a crusade needs to happen. A crusade will happen.
The first person that calls it a crusade, they're like, "That no, let's just call it something else." Those always fail and don't look
cleansing.
and don't look good in history. For one, they always fail, and for two, they don't look good. So let's just call it something else. Track record is bad for crusades.
But yeah, so like if you guys want to influence things, you absolutely still can.
Purge.
The whole point is
Let's just get
The
away
whole
from
point-
those.
a purge or a cleansing or
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the whole purpose of you guys revealing yourselves as gods was so that way you guys could still influence things in the world. So you guys still can. It's just it has to be more indirect now.
Indirect. Like we can do the whole like we answer the
You can be a
commune
burning bush.
style, right? Like
Yeah.
they're like, hey, yo, what do you think about this? And we're like, I think all these things. Do my will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Precisely.
God shit.
Yep. And that's soon. That's not too far off. That's why I want to make sure I emphasize that like we're nearing the point to where you're calling on your people to get a true leader now at this point. Someone that will take over the church, the library, whatever. Head librarian.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have one of those.
Arc
High
librarian.
Archivist.
I have one of those.
It's my high priest title.
And I can't.
Is your high priest just like the town drunk that's like drunk in the ditch?
The drunkest person at the
He
time.
knows what's up. Yeah, whoever's the most drunk and conscious at the time.
Curious Secundus.
I've looked this up like 2 sessions ago, I think, or when you first started talking about this, and I'm like, oh, that's my priest right there, and I think that's it because I never wrote it down.
It's like second imperial master or something.
Something. No, Secundus is like Latin for luck or some shit, or like one of the many words for luck.
Oh.
Okay.
Like there's fortune. There's like 100 words, and that was one of them. Like, oh, there, that looks good, and yeah, I like that too. So pretty much just a couple of. I always just type in Latin translations for fun words.
Oh yeah.
It's a good language to imitate.
All right. So how about for Pierce? Does Pierce want to actually do anything specific that you want to talk about now? Or we can always talk about things outside of game too, because we still need to catch up. But if there's anything you want to influence the current game.
I guess nothing specific. Tell one of my priests to build a big ass church in the middle of the Saline Empire capital. That's about it.
I mean, that actually works really well because you and you and Rosaline are probably very close by this point.
Been spending a lot of time with her lately. Not fighting people.
Which there is one thing
entirely out of teeth.
Elf teeth.
I'm the tooth fairy.
Newborn baby teeth.
Jesus.
Like the first 20 teeth any child gets.
Every tooth, I want it.
Yep. You become the tooth fairy, god of tooth fairies.
God,
And that's what you do. Build a tower of teeth.
Deranged guy with a pair of pliers, like, oh, it's time for the tooth fairy to come.
No. He's a vampire.
I'm a vampire. I
Open
take
your mouth.
teeth. Duh.
So, without further ado, unless there's anything else, we will kind of shift our vision northward.
No, nothing else.
I bet you guys over the map, right? Yeah. Nope, I did not. I'm sitting here staring at the map like do.
Yeah, I've been there.
All right. So.
Oh, I even had that in chat a couple while ago. Was ask Blood Queen about Eresis and what the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, you guys just literally haven't had a chance.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you didn't know actually. Yeah, you just really haven't had time.
Yeah, that was.
Yep, that was a while ago.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm just looking for if I did type in that Secundus thing just to make sure.
Yep.
Happen to notice that.
So your search brings you north. Not quite to the Silver Falls, but close. The massive mountains that are just to the south of it actually are home to the entrance of the lost temple of Havakor. As you guys travel, you guys have to use most of your magical abilities to actually track down the true entrance. There are dozens and dozens of false passageways that lead to death. Various different things, such as sudden oceans of lava or acid that come spewing out of the mountainside.
Nice.
That the average visitor would be immediately incinerated. And there are all sorts of feral beasts that steer clear of you guys because they can sense your power by this point. It's not this classic Skyrim bandit trying to rob the Dragonborn.
Yeah.
Let's mug them.
Hey, let's mug him.
Even something, by this point, even something as basic as like an owlbear knows to steer clear of you guys.
We are Dragon Ball Z characters.
Their instincts become flight rather than fight.
Mm-hmm.
There's even a few of the bigger beasts that roam the land that tend to stray away from you. You actually you see a gray render that decides to turn around. You see several very large giants that look like they're up for a good fight but decide to go the other way. But eventually you come upon the entrance. And look at me not having the picture up. I should probably
Well,
upload.
we can't look at it because you don't have it.
Shut up. It's not for your eyes. My eyes only.
It's only for God and no one else.
Yeah. It's only for the proper deity.
The tree.
The true God, the concept of reality.
Yep.
Just
Within a massive cave complex, there is one final chamber. It is several miles wide by several miles high, and there is just a tiny hole at the top that seems to give off an unbelievable amount of light. But the entrance to the Lost Temple of Hevakor lies before you.
Ooh.
And she looks like that.
cute. Wait, she?
Yes, she.
Oh,
Is that
it's Discord.
giant statue thing alive?
It does give off life signals, but it does not move. Like looking at it every once in a while, like you can feel it breathing, but
Interesting.
there's no actual heaving, hoeing, or anything. I just use the word she as more of a this is what it is. But from your understanding, it looks like it's alive.
That's pretty neat.
Do I know or have a guess as to what it is?
I mean, it's probably, in all honesty, just a statue, an
Just,
animated statue.
yeah, has a little bit of life breathed into it.
I mean, realistically, it's probably got several eons of magic essence poured into it to keep the unworthy from finding the entrance.
Ooh.
You imagine that if you weren't as powerful as you were, it could simply hide the entrance.
Hmm.
But before you, the door is open, the gateway, the portal. From your point of view, there is no actual portal. There's no liquid. There's no fluid like a normal portal would have. It's just a simple doorway that leads into a different plane of existence, as far as you can tell. As you get closer, Kenna, you'd immediately identify that it is not an actual portal to a different plane. It's just a teleportation hole, and it leads deep within the earth.
Not interplanar.
Nope, just strictly south.
Terrestrial.
Yes.
Yes.
It probably leads
There you go.
many miles into the core of the planet, near the core of the planet.
Into
That's
the
fun.
core?
Well, you don't know how far. Very far.
Like,
I mean-
holy shit. We're going deep.
You don't know
Should
exactly
be nice
how
and
deep.
warm in there.
That seems a little too warm, but, nice is operative.
You know, the core of the planet isn't really that hot.
Says the god of.
Well,
Immunity to fire.
Looks at the character sheet. Yep, not a problem. Everyone else, oh man.
oh, jeez.
10,000 degrees Kelvin. Is that hot?
Nah.
It's not hot.
The entrance of the actual gateway, it feels as if you're just walking downstairs, in all honesty, or you walk upstairs and then down, and you enter this circular room where there's a whole bunch of not chairs, they're more like booths, aligned in what looks like a theater style, where there's like a stage and then a bunch of chairs around, or like booths around it. There's an inch worth of dust on it, so it hasn't been used in quite some time. And there's no disturbance as far as you can tell. Your footsteps leave like dust prints, those of you that are actually walking.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm still a walker.
As you guys get to the far side of the room where the only other doorway is, essentially it's just a continuation of the hallway. You get near the end and an apparition appears on stage, and there appears to be a skit being acted out in apparition form. The story is that of what they call the betrayal of Eos. And it's essentially like, it looks like 4 children dressed up in costume like the 4 primary gods. Transentine, Havakor, Ordinius, and Nephirim. And then like a big classic bully looking character with a shirt that says EOS on it. Like, give me your power. And they're like, no, we will never give you your power. And then they act out a little skit where EOS kills them one by one.
Jesus.
Do they actually
And-
die?
And they just repeat. It just repeats once like all the kids like fall over. It does like a static like where like disappears for a second and then it reappears back at the beginning. And this is just on repeat as long as you guys stand there.
I look at Kenna and say, at least we know what we're looking forward to.
Indeed.
As you guys enter further into the cavern, it doesn't look like there's any more rooms as far as you can tell. You just seem to be going down, 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 down in a burning ring of
In
fire.
Goblin Town?
If anybody wants to take a bio break now, it'd be a really good time. I'm going to. And
All
then
right.
we will continue.
No, I'll do it when it's more inconvenient.
Of course you would.
Uh-huh.
Alright, be back in a bit.
My bladder doesn't take orders from me. It's the other way around.
I'm back if anyone's here.
I'm back. I never left, so that's a lie.
I'm here. Quietly stalking.
Mm.
Yes.
I wonder if I can get a past version of myself to willingly be the sacrifice for the ship.
Let's talk about
What?
I
talk
feel like
about
that
time
might be
warp.
complicated
Yeah.
because you come from like another version of reality.
Right.
And also you might end up like deleting yourself.
I mean, maybe.
Seems like a bad idea if you want my my 2 cents.
All right. I mean, yeah, I definitely would have asked Kenna.
Don't mess with time.
No?
Seems like worth a shot if you ask Pearson.
It's a pain in the ass.
It just seems
That's why you ask the wizard instead of the sorcerer for advice.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like that way I know exactly what I'm getting myself into.
Shock note.
If I could get somehow a past version of myself to inhabit the ship.
That's not a terrible idea.
Yeah, that's what
I've
Pierce
heard
said.
dumber things.
Don't trust the DM.
Like I've played with Matt long enough.
The DM's
I've heard
worse
plenty
than
of
a,
dumb things.
DM's worse than a sorcerer.
It's
The
true.
DM has played many sorcerers.
I like sorcerers. They always do the fun shit. Like, don't care about smarts, just do it.
We don't think. We just do.
Exactly. There's no.
Okay, so I
thing.
burned down that stupid wooden building in town, the orphanage. Yeah, that one.
That's the one.
That one.
Somebody's got to be the buzzkill.
The one
That's
with
why-
screaming children is really annoying.
that's
There were kids laughing, and it was just painful to my ears.
Darn kids, so ungrateful these days.
Yep. It's like, I'm gonna make a wizard. Oh, you mean a babysitter? Yeah, because you idiots are gonna need help.
Someone needs to think.
Yeah, because someone needs to fucking think.
When intelligence fails, strength check. My logic.
Yep.
So as you guys are traveling into the cave system, we'll call it, one thing becomes very certain, and that's that there's probably never been a mortal creature that's walked these halls. Just looking around, everything in here it's not naturally designed. So while the cave looks very cave-like, it is meticulously designed to look that way. Someone that designed this did it on purpose. It's above the construction level of like the dwarfs, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
The cave, while it does look cave-like, it's extremely appealing to the eyes. And as you guys enter what I guess we'll call it the final stretch, where the cave kind of stops being a cave, it opens up to a giant chasm, and you guys are on a wonderful little walkway. And I will bring the tokens over because I didn't do that before, because why would I?
Yeah.
I'm not going to make things easy for myself.
Oh, and then just wondering, is there music going?
Anubis.
No, I forgot to do that.
Okay. Where are we? Bottom left, top right?
Right. Is what's revealed. It's a sweet picture.
Ah, there it is, top right. Yeah. Anubis or something.
Anubis.
It is.
It is Anubis. You guys have met. Well, some of you have met him.
Rock's man.
Rock. Yeah, I think only Rock.
Yeah.
Mike just guessed because, the look.
Classic.
Yes. So, Anubis was a god, one of the minor deities that inhabited the world. You guys thought they were all killed along with the greater deities, but you guys have suspected for a long time that some of them must have gotten away. Sorry. Trying to make sure I got everything. I didn't organize this very well because, why would I?
No, it's all right.
Why make it easy on myself?
Mm-hmm. All that fucking wasted time taking bio breaks.
I know.
You should have been working.
Big thing is I'm not used to having all 4 people here.
Oh,
So you guys, as you guys walk down, you guys kind of find yourselves at the bottom of this chasm almost instantaneously, almost like you were transported a distance, because the cave system kind of ended abruptly and then suddenly it was behind you, almost like you couldn't avoid being thrusted into the face of Anubis. And just because, why would that happen? I zoomed in really weird. What just happened? Why? All the text on my right-hand bar is like super tiny now. What did I do? Hold up.
Don't know. Try refreshing.
Control
Oh, there we
Z.
go. No, I fixed it. When I was like zooming in on the thing, I zoomed in on the wrong thing and then zoomed out on the wrong thing. So that was fun.
That'd be a good little second long skit. Someone launches a nuke or something, hits Control Z. Just no,
So just
undo.
you guys can see a little bit bigger picture of him. Well, that looks a really, really distorted picture of him. He stands there with his scale, as Rock may remember.
Yep.
Does he have a heart on it?
Yes, he has a heart and a feather on both. He does not look like he's here to weigh your souls.
We don't really have them anymore, so
Correct. But he stands there. But there is that is actually a really good observation. There is a heart actually on the scale still. So he stands about 12 feet tall, give or take. Similar to when Rock met him. He doesn't move. He just stands and it's extremely still. You would think he's a statue if you were any less intelligent. But as you guys are thrust down into kind of his face, he gives a very short and very abrupt bow.
Out
And he
of respect,
says,
Rock bows back.
when you do that, he kind of almost interrupts your bow. He says, Rockwald, you bow to no one.
I was merely paying respect for one who saw me as worthy in a past life.
I appreciate the sentiment, but understand that where you are the powerful ones. You are the righteous. Come with me. Similar to once before when you met him, he doesn't waste time really chatting. He immediately tells you that, let's go.
Right.
And he begins to saunter off.
All right.
His footsteps are excessively loud. For a being that is, only 12 feet tall, he steps with the force of what sounds like 40,000 pounds.
He's really real stomping.
Yep. And he's stomping on what looks to be an obsidian pathway or
What?
some form of extremely black stone. Which I guess I need to do. I have shortened the tunnel on the map. Why would it do that? Am I hiding it?
Yep.
Oh, how did I even do that? I literally have it on reveal. Okay, there we go. This pathway is actually several miles long.
Oof.
And he stops right there. Any particular order you guys want to be walking in?
I mean, outside of the usual rock in front, I don't think there's
Okay.
too much difference.
I think just rotated. Yeah, that's good.
Looks good.
This is a long effing hallway.
Tell me about it.
Well,
As you round the corner,
feels like a few miles at least.
keen observation. 3.6 miles to be exact.
Ah. Yeah, I haven't walked that far in a while. What the hell are we doing?
Before you, I do believe that only one of you may actually recognize Ra. And that'd most likely be Kenna. Say, if anybody else thinks that they would know, I'll just go ahead and say you do. Otherwise,
No.
you don't know.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Ra, the Egyptian sun god. He was once the leader he is the leader of the pantheon of the essentially the desert people faction.
Poor Egyptians. Them and their gods.
Ra is on par with like Odin, Zeus, and such. His mere presence is quite shocking, probably to even Kenna. You, as far as you know, Ra would be the only person that Kenna might see as an equal of the old gods in terms of intelligence. He was a very wise, very powerful being that had similar properties to Kenna in her prime as a Fey prince. Similar to Anubis, he stands very still, and then he does a similar bow that Anubis did, but he takes it one step further, and he goes all the way down to a knee.
Ooh.
My lords, we have waited for thousands of years. Your presence here tells us that the end times are near. I cannot go with you past this point, but understand that if you cause trouble up ahead, there is no exit for you. We may not have the powers we once did, but I assure you that we still have plenty of power within us. Go now, but
Assume
you are
so,
the only
given
worthy. What's that?
your situation here. I did not think that there was any power left to sustain you. Perhaps that was incorrect.
Eos took a great number of things from this world when he sought to destroy the greater deities. But even Eos isn't all powerful. He is blind to many things. Staring at the sun for too long tends to leave blind spots. It's unwise to pay attention to
Fitting
one thing
analogy.
too much. And he steps aside and kind of waves with his right arm to continue down the pathway.
All right.
I'm going to reveal a larger section of the map now, just so you guys can kind of see what's going on. So the walkway that you guys are on, there's a 4-foot walkway, 4-foot tall walkway, or like wall made out of the same material as the floor. And you can actually see in front of you, like, just this big ass spire. It's not big as in terms of like, it's like hundreds and hundreds of feet tall, but everything around you is just a chasm of blackness. Like, there's no end to this floor, there's no roof. It's just all black. The only thing that is lit up is what you guys are walking on, and you don't know where the light is coming from. As you guys finish walking over to... Oh, dang it, I didn't mean to do that. One of these days, I'll get the hang of this. Oh, see, it went the wrong way. Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll do it this way. Oh my god, if the camera would just cooperate with me for like 2 seconds, this would be great. Dear roll 20. Do it this way first, just to save us a little bit of time in the near future here. Good enough. Big spire. For a reference, just so you guys can see that these are actually 10-foot squares. It's almost 300 feet wide.
Yeah.
You guys.
It's a little big. Perfect size for an arena.
It would be.
Fun.
I'm just going to sum up what you guys see. You guys actually have to pass. Okay, you know what? Fuck, why am I doing this like this? I'm just going to make this simple. This is what you guys see. Now, this is a ringed platform. Oh my god, what is going on with the zoom in? Okay, sorry. My zoom in decided to get locked onto my mouse cursor, so it's going up and down really quick. So in front of you is a big old wall, and it's about now that you realize that none of your spells or powers would be working. You would feel much more mortal is what I would call it. I'm not saying you're mortal by any means, but for the first time in a long time, any of you that are flying or floating, you plop to the ground suddenly.
I
And
don't feel anything.
yeah, I mean, If you have any kind of special effects, you no longer feel them. So anything that you guys would normally have on your person that is enchanted or boosted would be gone. And as you guys continue to walk around this way, it's at a slight incline, just ever so slight. You come up over to here, and there's a stairway. Wide enough for you guys to all walk up. And at the top of the stairway is a fellow standing there that, once again, Kenna would recognize. Maybe some of you others might.
When we get to that stairway, I'm like, all right, Kenna, easy now. Don't get winded walking up these few steps. I know it's probably been a while since you haven't floated everywhere.
I will not dignify that with a response.
She says, taking a deep breath.
Yep.
Yeah.
Goes and does a few fucking stretches.
Like, ask Solus to carry him. Help me. Come on, I carry you all the time.
Solus would try.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I am
His
my
strength of 3.
Before you stands Thor, and he stands very, very proud, much almost like he's expecting a fight, before he truly has a moment to kind of sum you guys up. He looks at each one of you individually, doesn't say anything, and then similar to Anubis and Ra, he does a slight bow.
I give him a little head nod.
Mm-hmm.
A wave.
I never in my years would have thought that the 4 of you would be the ones taking charge.
Wait, what am I taking charge of?
5.
Count Solus. It is a very uncertain times we live in. Ragnarok is upon us.
So it may seem.
He steps aside just enough to let you guys pass.
Yeah, I walked by.
Sorry, I'm just doing one thing really quick here.
Yep.
He says, I assume that Ra gave you the same warning that I'm about to give you. What lies before you, you are the first to ever see it, aside from the 4 of us. If you misbehave, know that your end will be swift. And he motions forward for you guys to take the final set of stairs.
Heard that before.
We have no power.
You guys are constantly talking shit to the guy, to the old gods. I love it.
Realize this.
Nothing of the sort.
And then finally, the last god, as far as you can tell, to greet you is Odin the Allfather. And I actually realized I used the wrong icon, so we're going to get rid of that one. Doop. I went back and forth between 2 different icons, and I couldn't decide which one I wanted to use.
Yeah,
I went with this one.
definitely. Oh yeah, he's got the crows. Or ravens.
Oh, I was zooming in, but yeah, nice.
Right. Now, to be clear, he is standing there like that. There are 2 wolves and 2 ravens perched upon him, and he is standing similar to that, as if he's prepared to defend this area with his life. So it has come time for you to ascend, I see. Do you understand where you are? Before we begin anything, do you truly understand what you're about to do?
Nope.
Not a clue.
No
Do you
chance.
know where you stand?
Not even
Temple of
relevantly.
Habicor.
On the ground.
You are looking at the creation place of the dragons. This is
Okay.
the very first nest, if you will, This is the birthplace of the original dragons that came into creation under the leadership and guidance of the four greater deities.